morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am going to talk about a very unique subject, especially for us Indians, and that's called the art of slow living. But before that, let's see what our lives are today. It's all about speed. We used to have speed post, speed dial, but now we also have speed dating and speed yoga. Everyone is running in their own races to achieve their goals, and check boxes are ticked every day, and everyone is just rushing to achieve what they want. Productivity has become the religion these days. And over and above that, everyone is surrounded by FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Not just in careers, but also in watching the best web series going around. And amidst all this, all of us are missing out on something which is happiness. And instead of happiness, we are bringing in stress. There are researches by various universities, right from New York University School to Stanford to Harvard Medical School and so many other institutes, which proves that how stress is impacting all of us today. Worry, uncertainty, even a monotonous life, forget the deaths in near and dear ones, is causing a tremendous issue in our bodies, and that's pumping up our bad stress hormone called cortisol. Then you end up overeating, get into alcohol and drug abuse, and also distance yourself socially. And what are the sad effects of it? Right from common cold and cough, you have weight gain issues, diabetes, heart attacks, and also people slip into depressions. Look around ourselves. Let me show you a startling figure as far as India is concerned. How stress is impacting all our lives. Can you imagine? Every 4 minutes, we are losing one person to suicide. Every hour, one student in India is losing his life or her life to suicide. Heart attacks, a common word these days if you look at friends and families. And surprisingly, every minute there are 4 people suffering from heart attacks, and more than 25% deaths are into the age bracket of less than 35 years old. And diabetes, everyone knows we are globally number 2. And look around ourselves. You'll find some friends or family suffering from all these issues, which is related to stress. I go back 10 years when I visited Zurich, Switzerland for a business meeting. And that transformed my life. The business partner of mine who sponsored my visa had a hard stop. And he told me that as a rule, as a spirit, he would not go beyond 5 p.m. in the evening for any kind of business meetings. I was initially shocked and surprised because in India, we are used to work till 7, 8, even probably 9, 10 these days. And so I accepted that could be that's the Switzerland culture. Not just that the meeting exactly got over by 5, he didn't go back home. I accompanied him. We went back together, and after parking ourselves for a while, we went out for a good nice stroll along the canal side. He had his pet dog. His wife went cycling on her own, and probably after an hour and a half, he again assembled back at his home. We had a good wine and some amazing cheese. I'm sure after I left for my hotel, he would have definitely read a few pages of his book, and we met again in the morning exactly at 8 o'clock to discuss business. And then I saw that how are these people living so differently than people in India? And then I came across this World Happiness Report. Now this report came into existence in 2012, not too far off, but in our own neighboring country, Bhutan, where the government promotes not the GDP, but gross national happiness index. Every decision making goes to that committee which looks at the happiness of the people. And there, the elite institutes like London School of Economics, the Oxford's, Columbia University, all the elite professors met up and created a concept where on a yearly basis, the happiness indexes across the world is measured. In fact, yesterday, on the eve of International Happiness Day, which is today, 20th of March, they came up with another round of report which has the top 10 countries, and amongst them, most of them are from, of course, European Union, but startlingly, India is in the bottom quartile at 139th rank out of 149 countries. That's shocking. Of course, there are parameters there like GDP per capita, social security, generosity, etc. But the critics might say that fine, these European countries are the ones which has lesser population. They have better social life, their social securities, medical support, education support. But however, the report also points out the fact that there are various aspects which probably is in our control also, like environment, freedom of expression and speech, social fabric. Of course, some of the countries rank higher because they have amazing amount of cafes, restaurants, pubs, and historical monuments. But there's something common which all of these countries do, and that's nothing but slow living. And that's when I realized deeply what slow living means. So when we talk about slow living, people feel that slow is a very, very tad word, very lazy word. People associate a slow guy with a dumb guy because, of course, speed is fun and speed is joy. However, slow living does not mean that you stop walking. Of course, everyone has their own races to run. Slow means taking a pause. Take a pause for a while, not on weekends, every day, probably every few hours, and again start running in your own races, but take a pause. Slow living is something where you need to look inside yourself and absorb the atmosphere, see things around you and enjoy them. And most importantly, slow living is living in the now moment, the moment of present. Not worry about the future or think about the past. Because ultimately everyone has one goal, is to create happiness for oneself and one's near and dear ones. Let me show you some of the best practices which these countries follow. Look at Sweden. Sweden has a concept of Lagom, which is called minimalistic living. It's nothing more and nothing less, just adequate. You will not find Swedish people just going out in the market and randomly buying shirts and furniture and accessories. Once they need it, they will buy that. And they live in a very, very minimalistic way. And scientifically, that's proven that these kind of people are much lighter and they have lesser stress. Look at Norway. They have a concept called friluftsliv, which is connecting with nature. It says that you get inside a forest or a natural area without your cameras, no selfies, and just be with the nature. Try to absorb the nature, enjoy the sound, the smell, and the feeling of being there. Just be guided by your instincts and do nothing. Japan has a similar concept called Shinrin Yoku, which is called forest bathing. Here, people are expected to go inside the forest, again without phones, no selfies. Just be there, be with the moment, enjoy the entire forest. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Shinrin Yoku has proven that the basic of the basic ailments, right from a common cough and cold to the gravest and the most chronic ailments like strokes, diabetes, even cancer could be cured by forest bathing. Today, the Japanese government has 44 accredited Shinrin Yoku centers in Japan. And not just that this concept is just in Japan, it's now getting global attention. UK has got one center recently, and not just UK. Our own backyard, Ranikhet in Uttarakhand, got one forest bathing center just in the month of March. Let's move ahead and look at what people in Netherlands do. They have a concept called gezelligheid. Gezel means friends and gezelligheid means being in the warm company of old friends. People try to create memories of yesteryears, try to catch up with old friends and be in the moment which they used to live 20 years back. Go to the same beach, cycle on the same beach, visit the old school or the restaurant, and it is said that this kind of a exercise creates amazing positivity in your minds and mindsets. If you look at Iceland, which is again said to be one of the most extremist climate country, they have a concept called Gluggeveður. Glugge is glass and Vedur is weather, where people can't go out in extreme winters. They sit inside their homes, enjoying the beautiful scene outside their window, sipping their hot chocolate or a coffee. And it is proven that this kind of a concept gives birth to phenomenal ideas and thoughts. If you move to Denmark, they have a concept called Hyggekrog. What does it mean? It's like creating a cozy atmosphere. And this is kind of a religion for every Denmark citizen. At the end of the day, they create a warm light, soft music, nice cozy couch and comforting bed, and enjoy their cup of coffee or a glass of wine reading their book. And this daily exercise makes them one of the most happiest citizens in the world. If you look at Finland, which has been ranking amongst the top 5 countries year on year, they have a basic concept called sauna. Now you may think what's so new about sauna, but let me shock you with a statistic that a population of 5.5 million in Finland use 2.3 million of saunas. Because they have an ancient saying there that you can fight everywhere, you can argue everywhere, but you can't fight inside a sauna room. So that's one of their strategies of being stress-free and happy. Now coming to Italy, all of us know that Italians have love for sports car and speed. They are phenomenal drivers, right from the first Formula One winner to so many other drivers who participated in Formula One. In fact, Italy has the best of the sports car companies, right from Ferrari to Maserati to Fiat. And people love speed there. But on the other side, they balance that speed by following this concept called Dolce far niente. This means doing nothing. Just sit back, relax, sit back without any agendas or any kind of checklist in your hand and just do nothing. Imagine if my mother sees me doing nothing, she will have a list of things for me to do. But that's the difference between the concept and the cultures. Now you might feel that these happiest countries have phenomenal cultures and India is not so happy. That's not the fact. If we go back 50 years down the line and ask your elders, ask your grandparents, your grandmother or grandfather or even your parents, why were no cases of heart attacks or strokes or cancer 60, 70 years back? Because our seniors, our elders used to have a phenomenal lifestyle. And today also, we can have a similar lifestyle if you want to follow. If we look at the way of living in India 50 years back, it's the grandma's way. There are various strategies. And these strategies are ratified by researchers from best of the best universities in the world. One is hobbies. It is said that if you have a hobby, it could be cooking something, it could be painting, it could be gardening. Creating anything in your own way cuts you off from the present, from the clutter, and you tend to be absolutely stress-free. And that's why we saw our grandparents getting into some kind of cooking, some kind of gardening. I remember my grandmother knitting sweater and I used to laugh at it. But today now I realize that even that used to give her a quite stress-free and a happy life. The second point is writing. Now you would say writing, who writes these days? Even I remember writing last time when I signed a check. But today no one even signs a check. Forget emailing. Now the age is of WhatsApp and sending messages or even voice messages. But if you look at our history, our ancient culture, people used to write. They used to write diaries. They used to jot down good thoughts, good people they met. And that is also proven scientifically that it creates a lot of abundant feeling. People used to write postcards. I still have a postcard written by my grandfather so many years back. And today also, if you go to a post office, you will find inland letters and postcards. Just try doing it yourself. One of the Sunday mornings, just write a postcard to one of your relatives or a friend while sipping your coffee or a tea. And just see what kind of cortisol change you will have in yourself, what kind of feelings you will get. That will be phenomenal. Meditation in nature. Everyone knows meditation helps you de-stress yourself. And also people know that India is the country which gave birth to meditation. So here, it's not meditating inside your own room, but getting inside the nature and meditating inside the nature. Look at our own civilization and our own history. Our sages and saints used to go inside the forest and meditate, and that had its own impact. If you look at the fourth strategy, which I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, is the impact and power of community. We've lost that trust today because all of us are busy with our own gadgets. People are absolutely sticking with their gadgets. But if you go back to a few years, not even 50 years, I remember when I was in Calcutta, we used to meet up post dinner over an adda. In North, they call it chopal. People meet and generally chit-chat, discuss world views, and there's no agenda. Science has proven that this also leads to great amount of bonding and making lives stress-free. So ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, if you combine the best of the best international best practices of those countries which have been ranking in the top list year on year, and don't go back too far, just go back a few years in your own country, you will come up with amazing ingredients to live a happy life. And As we conclude, slow living is nothing but art of pausing. While you run every day, you pause for a while, again start running. It's an art of absorbing. People don't even remember where they're walking these days. It's an art of absorbing when you look at the atmosphere around yourself and enjoy each and every moment. And the third aspect is it's an art of present, being in the now moment. Don't worry about the past or the future. No one knows what's going to happen, so enjoy today's moment. And with all this, I'm sure we will have our own recipe of having a phenomenal life. And by adopting the concept of slow living, I'm sure we will keep stress and all the ailments along with stress far, far away from India. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.